Hello!
After reviewing my boss's ball game, he gave me $20, and since I was feeling nostalgic, I bought Swords and Sandal Classic Collection. I knew going in it would be a bit rough around the edges, but it sadly was a bit too rough for me. Swords and Sandal 1 start off pretty damn hard, and I gave up early on. I found out later that skipping the intro made it even harder. It took me about 5 hours to beat Swords and Sandal 2, though nearing the end it did get repetitive. You need to grind all regular battles before you can fight in a tournament, and losing any battle in a tournament meant facing everyone yet again. Each higher tournament tier also had more opponents, and by the last boss, I cheesed it in fear of redoing the whole thing. Swords and Sandal 3 was the game that I was nostalgic for. Sadly, the glitch that made buying lightning spells one tier earlier was fixed. Weirdly enough, this glitch still exists in Swords and Sandal 4. The game feels much harder than the last one, and feels even more RNG heavy. Honestly, at this point, I felt all Swords and Sandal games were heavy on RNG. It always felt possible to die unexpectedly. I didn't get far, and I also quit this one as well. It didn't help that grinding felt much worse, and I had to go in and out of menus to reset possible opponent. Buying gear was also annoying, as it didn't show any stat comparison. Swords and Sandal 4 is Swords and Sandal 3 with more party-alike elements. It was certainly interesting, but I didn't play for too long. The game also includes Swords and Sandal Crusaders, Mini-Fighters, and Grossal, all of which I didn't care much for. There's also a few modded versions which I found to be pretty cool. It usually ends up being harder and a bit louder. Overall, I want to like Swords and Sandal, and while most of my time was alright with 2, I think it's hard to recommend Swords and Sandal Classic Collection in this modern day. I think if they allow the player to grind up levels and gold freely, it would lessen the burden a slight bit. The game will still be heavy on RNG, but at least you could always overcome it with grinding. Besides that, the game is played in a very small window mode, or full screen. There is no in between. When the game starts up, it plays a full screen animation that turns it into window mode. I just wanted to mention this as I found it interesting. The game will likely be hard and frustrating to many players. Battles and bosses are usually not in your favor. Maybe with the correct build, you have a better chance, but it still comes down to RNG. The game is also quite simple. There's only so many actions the player can do, and with it come limited strategy. I mentioned it before that you can't technically grind, however you are forced to do many battles before you face the boss or do a tournament. The camera can also sometimes be a bit wild, and the music can sometimes be a bit loud. Again, I sadly can't recommend Swords and Sandal Classic Collection in 2025. Goodbye and good night.